I just got back from a month-long trip to Mexico, and it completely reignited my excitement for life. These past few years have been a little strange, lots of ups and downs. I feel like I've drifted kind of far away from my North Star and who I really am as a person. You know, it's funny because I've always been someone who knows exactly who I am. I've always had strong opinions on how I want to live my life and how things should be. And I thought that no matter what my environment, I would always be able to make these things happen. But over the past few years, I've realized how big a role environment plays and how easy it is to be swept away by life if you let yourself. To be consumed by a routine, a work schedule, a lifestyle. I felt myself become stagnant, almost complacent, which is not a word I'd typically describe myself as. Being in Mexico after living in Atlanta felt like the first warm spring day after a long cold winter. That sense of hope and aliveness. There's truly nothing like it. It's that reinvigoration of the spirit. This is why traveling, specifically long traveling, is important, because it can be a powerful tool to expand your mind and offer a different perspective. This trip was the longest period of time I've spent outside the US since 2017. Being abroad for a month allowed me to reimagine what my life could be like and remember what life was like when I felt the most like myself. It was a long enough period of time where I forgot about my routines at home and developed new ones. And that was the key to unlocking a piece of me that I had almost forgotten. The thing is, I have been lucky enough to travel a lot in the past few years, but never for an extended period of time. When you're in a place for just a few days, you feel like a visitor. It's easier to think about home, work, or the number of days until you leave. Having an extended window of time allowed me to experience a new reality, even if it was still temporary. Let me talk about what makes me happy. I love new experiences, specifically the ones that make me feel alive. I love adventure, food, and culture. I know this may sound obvious or idealistic, but it's really not. I can boil this down simply. I want to live an interesting life. Honestly, it makes sense. I come from a pretty non-traditional family. My dad has been traveling the world since he was 16, and I'm lucky to have experienced traveling with my mom's family since I was a toddler. In addition, I was able to attend college in Italy. That was an incredible experience for all of the obvious reasons, but it was also 4 years that really informed who I am today. At that age, the things you learn stick with you. I learned a lot about living, the things I value, and how I like to spend my time. And for the most part, those things have stuck with me, but now it's been 6 years since I've lived outside the US. I felt them drifting further and further away. I've spent the past several years working to build my career, which has been fun and fulfilling but challenging. As a business owner, it's easy to get caught up with work and have tunnel vision. Sometimes it takes stepping back to remember why we were even working in the first place. I think I've let myself be consumed with this idea that I have to succeed before I can enjoy life. And that led me to make a few decisions based on what I thought would be good for my career without considering life enjoyment. The clarity that I gained on this trip is for me to really succeed, those two things need to be aligned. I've lived in the US the majority of my life. I know it well. Most cities are alike in many ways, not very walkable, spread out. And I'm not here to insult any city or country. I just feel like when I'm here, I can coast through life. I can fall into societal and cultural norms here in America. I can be swept away by the work culture, and it's hard for me to feel culturally invigorated here, if that's even a saying. And don't get me wrong, I love the sense of expansive nature here. I love that I have family and friends here, and experiencing those things are some of my favorite memories. It's the cities that are lacking for me. I've yet to fall in love with an American city like I have in other parts of the world. I'm grateful for the experience of moving to Atlanta. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have realized that I've drifted away from the life I want to live. And I guess that's the way life works. We learn to create our dream life by experimenting with different lifestyles, finding what fits and what doesn't. It's hard to describe in words the feeling of being in a place where everything is foreign and your brain has to work in overdrive. It brings us closer to those survival instincts in a good way. Constantly experiencing and learning new things is like a drug. All 5 senses are activated: new smells, new sights, a new language. Even something as simple as getting a coffee in the morning, discovering the best local food, or learning a new word. These challenges make sure that you're engaged with your life. And I know that the longer you're in a place, the more you learn about the culture and the language, the more this excitement can slow down. It starts to become your new normal. But when you're testing the boundaries of your comfort zone, there's always something new to learn. I love food. This passion is something I learned as a kid from my parents, but those feelings became even stronger while living in Italy, where I really learned how to cook. I was able to fully understand the cultural importance of food and experience the power it has to bring people together. How a simple meal, an act that can feel almost transactional if we let it, can be one of the most memorable and special things. I love how in some cultures it's normal to go to the market daily, despite the perception of inconvenience. But in a society where the freshness of each ingredient is the most important part of the meal, how could you shop any other way? This is an example of a larger trend I've noticed in cultures outside the US. Oftentimes, things are built for the people, for enjoyment. Not everything is built for maximum efficiency. And I know that I'm speaking generally, but these small differences contribute to that feeling I have when I'm traveling in other countries. You can taste it in the food, you can see it in the communities, and hear the laughter of people enjoying life. The feeling of sitting outside in the sun, enjoying a coffee or a meal in a beautiful square doesn't exist regularly. Our cities just aren't built that way, and it was such a breath of fresh air being able to do this and experience this every single day. It's these small things that can make such a huge impact in life. On our last day in Mexico, we were having breakfast with a friend that we met during our trip, and he was talking about how important his morning routine was. He wakes up an hour early, walks to his favorite cafe, and is able to sit outside and enjoy his breakfast without the feeling of needing to rush or hurry. It sets the tone for his day, and once he's done, he feels ready to begin work. It's so simple, but making that choice for pleasure is so powerful for your well-being. Yeah, it might not be as convenient as a drive-through, but that's okay. And I believe this is where the ripple effect starts. Each moment that you choose enjoyment over convenience, it starts to positively affect the rest of your life. For me, I notice it most with my sense of creativity. When my general stress levels are lower, I'm able to use my brain for the things that matter. Overall, I just feel 10 to 15% better. And so, how much of this is mindset and how much of this is environment? This trip has inspired me to seek out special moments in daily life here, to stay curious and open to new experiences, regardless of the environment. Even though I feel like I got off track a bit the past few years, I do believe that sometimes we need to go down the wrong path to remember what's truly important.